welcome to another episode of This Works For Us podcast. We have a special guest today, and that is Redell and Sheena Matthews. Welcome to the show. How y'all doing?
Good. How y'all doing?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Hey, we're glad to have you. Glad to be amongst family. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yes,
As I've preluded before and stuff to others, hey, this is just conversation. You don't have to be nervous or anything like that. If you choose to share what you want to share, type thing. If you feel like it's going to be a blessing to others or not, it's gonna bless somebody regardless. Yeah. But before we get going, tell us a little bit about yourselves. How long y'all been married? How'd y'all meet? Kids, all that good stuff.
You want to tell them first how you met?
You got it. You got it.
Back in 2008. I don't really do clubs and bars and all that. Don't start. You should actually have that footage quite deleted by this time. And so because I don't do those things, I was on the internet trying to find something and came across Yahoo personals and kind of scanned through some of the pictures and came across his picture. I was a little stubborn. I wasn't going to be paying no money for no subscription. So I was trying to hurry up and kind of do a little icebreaker thing so I can kind of get it over with. But in any case, saw his picture, hit the icebreaker. We talked for about, 2 months?
Yeah.
2.5 months. On the phone, 2.5, 3 months, like some high school kids going to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I was like, okay, are we going to meet? Because it's like 2 months now. Like we should be able to. I think you're not crazy. I don't think you think I'm crazy.
So let me cut in right there. You said you can get back.
You said
I thought she was crazy. I thought every woman on the internet was crazy. I promised I would never date on the internet. Okay, so yeah, I thought she was.
What was your picture doing on there? If he wasn't.
Okay, I was gonna let her finish, but it was just my boy. Okay, I was new to the area. My boy was a serial dater online. He was a serial online dater. And he told me to just put up a profile. Started with MySpace. This is how long ago that was.
MySpace.
Started with MySpace. And I just had one little picture, no activity or nothing. And then he convinced me, well, you're on there, try Yahoo, just to see what's up, see who out there. I said, okay, cool. I put up a post on Yahoo. Again, didn't pay much attention to it. But that's what it was. Okay, you got it.
But you responded.
He did.
No.
I did respond.
He did respond. And so once he responded, the way it works, you can't give out like your personal information unless you pay. So I was like, I guess I'm gonna have to do some digging because I'm not paying. And ended up finding him on Black Planet by the grace. I don't know how that happened, but I did. And
another social media. I said another old school social media.
Social media. Old school. So yep. After that, once we met, we pretty much been together since. Once we finally met that one time. I was probably a little crazy. I probably shouldn't have went to his apartment. I should have probably met him like at TJ Friday or something. But I guess I felt like we were safe because it's been about 2-3 months. But I was kicking myself the whole way there. Like you should probably meet in a public place, but I didn't.
I don't think you told me that part.
Yeah, I know. I ain't had no business. I was like, my mama probably gonna get me in the middle. Like I hear her voice in my head. So, but pretty much linked up, watched a couple movies, laughed, chuckled, looked around a couple corners, make sure nobody was over there, so I didn't get hit upside my head. And the rest was history. We've been together ever since.
Because that man's a saint. Okay, that's what he is.
Thank you.
What were you thinking though, Redell? Like you was talking to this female for months, but she about to come to your apartment. Like, I mean, what was you thinking?
She was crazy. That was that's all that was going through my head. So I just knew. Well, my apartment stayed spotless, when I was by myself. So I didn't have to worry about that part so much. So now it's just a matter of I'm like, trying to get myself together. I know she's coming. I just want her to be comfortable. You know what I mean? I want her to be comfortable. I know it's awkward. I think she's crazy. I'm trying to, prepare myself in case you start trying to figure out how to get her out of here if she is crazy, you know, all those good things. That's what's going through my head. How do I get her out of here if something goes awry? And luckily she was cool.
Cool, cool breeze.
Cool breeze.
And we said that was 2008, huh?
2008.
2008.
Like late 2008.
No, it was early 2008.
Was it cold?
Yeah. Huh?
It was cold.
Yeah, it was cold.
It was cold.
It was early.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we started talking, it was before Christmas, prior to Christmas of 07. And it wasn't until February.
Well, February kind of, yeah, right.
Yeah.
What he said. So you can tell how long we've been together, all that jazz.
But that's a long time now.
67 years.
16 years. 15.
Is it 60? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do math.
Yeah.
I say getting it wrong, but we've been together for a long time.
Mhm.
That's all I know.
It's been
So how long did you date before?
That's 3.5, 4 years before we.
4 years. 4 years. We were together 4 years. Got together in 2008, married in 2012.
We had JR in 2010, our son, 2010, and then got married in 2012.
Happily too. Look at them. Blessed couple here. You know,
There are
glad.
situations where the internet works. Y'all are
Yeah, it did. It actually.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, that again, that's a testament of that. You know, obviously, I don't know that world of the online dating and stuff, but we know 2 instances right off the bat, at least 2. That's
Mhm.
you and another friend of y'all that they met on line and they've been married ever since. Happily married. They got some kids and stuff too, man. Y'all doing the thing.
Awesome, awesome.
Now, before we continue on, I have this little icebreaker question for you. Hopefully,
He is smirking, so I
I
feel like it's
know,
something.
what?
What's a good one? It's a thought provoking.
It's a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
All right. What's the weirdest habit or quirk of your partner that you secretly love?
Wow.
I mean, it could be something which is again, it's one of those quirk. You know, like I like the way he scratches his beard or picks the toe jam out his toes or something like that.
I was like,
Not the toes.
I'll tell you what it is. I like the way she pushes her glasses up.
Ah,
you didn't even know that. Look at you.
I damn sure did. I like to see him get ready. Like when he gets himself cute, like fly, I'll be checking him out from my side. Be like, okay, I see you over there in the corner trying to get all cute. Yeah, I'll take that.
Don't be doing extra stuff now, Redell.
Nah.
Oh, yeah. He gonna be slowly putting stuff on, putting on lotion, looking at him. Like that.
I drizzle that baby on.
Oh, with the lotion. Even that.
Hey, can you get my shoulder for
So now that y'all met, y'all been married, and you got a handsome son and stuff. So what has been some of the, I guess one of the best things about you guys married? What are some things that you found out along the way, since being married that y'all had to get used to?
Some of the best.
So I think we have so there is an age gap. I'm like 7, 8 years older. So we have to overcome that gap sometimes. But the magic is it's also in the gap, right? So her being younger, she just not that it's a huge gap, but she kind of keeps me glued to the now. I I can tend to focus on the future. Like, okay, you know, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. So this is how we get there. Sean, I'm sure you can attest to, you know, leaving home, you have a plan, you know, things that you see your life going a certain way. And that's what we do. That's what most fellas do. We have a goal and we just go there. That's it. We just go that way. That's all we do. And so she kind of keeps me tethered to the now and not so much, you know, focus. So, and the same thing happens the other way, right? So I can, while I'm focusing, I can kind of keep her focused a little bit down the road also. And so that synergy kind of works for us. That is a good thing that we've I think we're still managing, but it's a constant thing. But you know, we have no problem with the upkeep. We just have to keep working. That's all.
What about you, Sheena? What's the I guess because I could have worded that a little bit better, like some of the obstacles or things that y'all had to since being married that you had to get used to. You said the age gap for y'all, like that.
Like understanding each other. Because I'm from Long Island, New York, and he's from North Carolina. So our upbringing is a lot different. So, you know, things that he's used to or things that he's passionate about, I'm like oblivious to it because that's not how I grew up, and vice versa. So it was a challenge. We still try to find a happy medium. Sometimes, you know, be like, okay, well, that's not what I'm used to. And he be like vice versa, saying the same thing, but we try and bring it together. So I think the challenging part was coming from, of course, like he said, age, but coming from two different parts.
I get that.
Yeah, I mean, we share that same, I guess, demographic. You know,
Yeah.
He's also from that area.
Hey, shout out.
And I'm from the South. I'm from Georgia, so
Right.
North South. You know, different upbringing. So you gotta marry that thing together. You know,
Marry together. Right.
That also goes into that, I guess, old cliche of what we thought. I guess we can say we thought that, you know, we always heard that, you know, the women up north end up liking the guys down south because of
like opposites attract type of thing.
Yeah. And vice versa, you know.
Right.
So and obviously we're a testament of it. It works.
Right.
This is that other thing, you know, it's the other, the liking the other, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're used to what's there and we like it's the other that attracts us.
That you didn't typically see on the daily.
Correct.
Yeah. I think we could also relate to the, like you were saying, like you have a future plan. And so it's actually the opposite for us. Sean is very much like go with the flow. Don't worry, it's gonna work itself out.
Right.
Like, oh no, like what is the plan? Because I cannot operate without the plan.
Right.
So it's definitely opposite for us, but I get it. Like sometimes I get so far into the future, I forget to be present. And so he does a good job of bringing me back.
Yeah. It's hard. It's easy to do because you can go down that rabbit hole real quick.
I'm trying to tell you now, I'm like, hey man.
Like, so what are we gonna do when we're 65?
No, she's serious. We be in the chat like,
oh, well, you already know.
I just told her I'm not working till I die. I just want you to know that, right?
I literally just said that. I'm like, you know, I do not want, like, this is my biggest fear. I do not want to be the lady at work where everybody's wishing she would retire.
Man.
Like, come on. She just she over there tapping. She don't want to change, right? Like,
don't want to change.
I don't want to do that to myself, and I don't want to do that to the people at work. Like,
you know what?
Acting like the company belongs to you.
They really no.
I'm not saying that there aren't people.
They love what they do.
Yes,
they love what they passionate about their job.
Like moving with the flow and doing the things. That's just not my story. Like I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like there's people who work into their 80 and they're doing a good job.
Right.
That's not what
that's not what you're trying
to be on the plane somewhere in France, you know.
I'm not one of those that you know that's scared I'm gonna die when I quit. No, I'm not that guy. I'm gonna live when I get done. I'm going out and you know what I mean, I'm having fun.
But I want to be young enough to do it.
Absolutely.
So, what would you say has been the most challenging part of marriage outside of, like you already said, getting used to these things, but like for us, we hear a lot of stories about how people had to move in together, right? And they're like, well, you don't put the toilet tissue on the right side of the roll, or like you don't fold the towels the right way. Did you guys experience any of that when you finally came together and moved in? Did you have to like adjust in that space?
There was a little bit of adjusting. She moved in with me. Just so happened my apartment was closest to both of our jobs, so it was only natural. She was driving like 45 minutes to an hour every day. I literally walked to work. That's how close I was. And her job was only like 15 minutes away from my apartment. So the only thing the biggest move-in issue was, okay, I'm in this 860 square foot apartment.
It's a mansion.
Just by myself. and it's like,
Was it 800?
Yeah, it was
so
just
my place was bigger than yours?
You had a full bedroom. I had a one bedroom with a studio with the room.
It was like a bedroom it was called like a bedroom. Yeah, it was like a den.
Right? It had its own door and closet and window, all that stuff, but it was just it was too small to call a bedroom. I guess that's what it was. Yeah. And so she got there, and like I told you, my apartment was spotless. Like, it was always clean and neat.
I didn't say none of that. I didn't say a word.
You didn't have to say anything.
Anything, she knows the truth. So when she got there, it was like always stuff, right? It was stuff. So she would try to clean up, right? I'm still used to being by myself. And I would, I might put my shoes somewhere. I'll get them, but they're there. But the rest of the house is spotless. Just these shoes are here, right? So
4, 5, 6 pairs.
Yeah, but at this point, we're overflowing, right? I'm already to capacity in this 800 square foot apartment. So now she brings her stuff. I'm like, look, and I'm the one saying, calm down. It's okay. We're overflowing here. Like, just relax. So we did bump heads a little bit about putting stuff away and things of that nature. But it was like, it's nowhere to put it. It's just stuff.
It was like, somebody like, it's always like yin and yang. He had a vision of where it should be, and I had a vision of where it should have been, and try to remember that it's his, it's really his place. So you're trying, but at the end of it, it's like I'm in here now too. I'm contributing to the bills and all these things. Like, I want the shoes to be here. I feel like they should be over here. You a whole lie. Don't lie on this podcast.
No. It's all good. It ain't it's all good. I had it.
And then we had JR and then once we had JR, later, it was really like busting at the seams. It was the toys.
It was crazy.
It was a mess. Like, stepped on something else, and squeaking. I just got out the bed. It's too much. It was a lot.
Yeah.
But
that was a lot of it. Just combining those places, and I think both of us had an idea, like she said, of how we saw things. And,
styles were different, so it was like it was basic stuff, but it was still stuff. So it was like I seen it this way, he seen it that way, and it was just like, okay, either we're gonna try and find a happy medium, or we just gonna let it be where it's at.
I mean, I feel like that's only natural, right? Coming from being independent to households, like
right.
You live one way, I live one way, right?
Right.
And when you stay the night, right, it's not the same.
Right.
That's right.
Facts.
So I totally get that. I don't know if we. Well, first of all, I sold half of my stuff and came to Texas, so I didn't really have nothing to bring to the apartment. So it was like clothes. That's all I had.
Hey, place was already laid, man.
There you go. There you
Oh,
go.
all she had to do was just insert herself there and hey, take yourself at home because this is your home.
There you go. That's how it was. There was nothing needed.
Yeah, with my stuff, all my stuff went into storage because I
Yeah.
had, I had my own place, so I had a 1-bedroom apartment, so my couch and.
Oh yeah, you say you was in what you had a 5-bedroom apartment?
Yeah, it's 5 bedrooms. I had
bedroom.
for the sweaters and the sneakers and.
Somebody gonna be listening. Oh, she downsized like that? I wouldn't have ever downsized. You want no man? I wouldn't have.
Rewind that. Let me rewind that again. She said, "What?"
I think our craziest story was so in our apartment when I moved here, it was now they have like a water closet that they where the toilet
Yeah.
is, right?
Oh
but that bathroom was open, so toilet, shower, all in the same room.
Right.
Well, I have this whole pet peeve
Wow.
about like
it's
still like this, but we have a water closet now, right? So Sean, when I would get in the shower, lock the door. Because I don't want him to come in the bathroom and poop while I'm in the shower, right?
Right.
So one day I locked the door and he's like, "What are you doing in there?" I'm like, "Well, you gotta wait because I don't want your poop on me when I get out of the shower." So I think that was the craziest.
Almost died. Thing. Right then. Right. You see, and this for other people, I'm not weirded out by that. Like,
right.
If she got to go, there's a shower curtain, there's a barrier there, or whatever. This one here,
took us a little bit.
It
took us a little bit.
It took us a lot of bit.
I ain't want nobody, but it wasn't as long as I think it could have been.
I'm still uncomfortable.
Well, now it's different.
Oh, now
it's different because our bathroom has a door to the toilet.
Right.
That was
So now it's like, do whatever it is you got to do. I'm gonna be over here. It's actually kind of good because it's like more like you're trying to get ready. Like, okay, you do your thing. I'm gonna go ahead and get cleaned up not by the time you're done, but when you're done, then I can get out and do whatever I gotta do. So
I bust the door wide open. Hey, think about it.
Oh yeah, we have a whole conversation. I'm like,
hey, look at these. Look at the grocery list real quick.
See, I'm gonna say it is me. I'm gonna blame it on myself that it's so slow and took so long. She's like Sean in that instance. She is like, "Hey, what up? Let's."
I'll be like, what happened today? It was supposed to snow, so he looking at me like, "Bro, can I just get a minute?" I'm like, "Look, but what happened was."
I need to tell you this right now.
Yeah, because I'm gonna forget. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm gonna go downstairs like, Tag, I have something to tell him, but I forgot. I probably should have told him when he was in the bathroom, but it's whatever.
I'm totally cool if there's a door to the toilet area, but if it's open, we ain't doing.
These
are still not doing.
These are little things that you don't necessarily think about until it happens.
Right.
Like I never in a million years would have thought at that time that I was gonna be locked out to where I couldn't go to the bathroom. It was not pleasant.
Your own house. You ain't never thought that.
In my own apartment. In my own apartment.
In your own apartment. Cold-blooded.
Now y'all mentioned while y'all was in the 800 square foot apartment, y'all had JR. How was that adjustment? Now introducing a kid into that.
And y'all was married. Oh,
y'all
was
after.
No, but y'all were together for how long before JR? Was
2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Yeah. So we had him. So, he probably has a different perception of how it was once the little man was here. I actually thought it wasn't as bad as I thought he seen it until maybe like a couple of years after he would say like things that was going on that I wasn't really paying attention to. So I thought it was great. I'm like, shoot, we got the baby. He has his room. It's of course you want it to be a little bit better because he's technically in the den part of the apartment, but at the end of the day, he still had a crib. He had the things that he needed. And eventually we knew we were going to get a bigger place. It just wasn't right now. But I thought it was, for the most part, I thought it was good. But he'll probably say, he might say something different. I don't know.
No,
I didn't think it was bad.
no. When he came along, I was so excited. That's number one. I was so excited. I was, I was happy to have it. There was a moment, I guess you can call it my honeymoon phase. I didn't care about stuff being in the floor, bassinets. I just walked right over it. She was kind of getting frustrated with stuff. I really didn't care. I was just wanting my boy. You know what I mean? I was just, I guess that's what it was. That's all I saw. So the first shoot, I don't know. I don't know if it ever even hit me. I guess towards the end, I was like, okay, part of my job moving.
That was
That's
probably
kind
the
of what
biggest part
that was
of
the
it.
catalyst for us to
Yeah.
really move. But I don't think it ever bothered me. I was still like, this is my boy. I had my son, and that was my focus. I didn't really care about the other stuff. I was happy in that moment. I was just happy. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Nothing really dampened that.
What about parenting, like styles?
The older he gets, the more I see a difference in how we are with parenting him. I honestly think because he was with me longer, so I felt like I was more the disciplinary because I stayed home for like 4 years before I went back to work. Yeah. So he was always with me. So I was, I'm like, okay, you can't be doing certain things. You gotta, listen and all the behavioral type stuff. But I think sometimes we'll bump heads. I don't think it's a lot. We both understand, like, it's, being respectful, doing what you're supposed to do, focusing on your school grades, that type of stuff. We both have our things that we don't want. With some things, I think I actually had to learn, like, don't disagree with his decision in front of him. Because it just kind of, because, kids will play off of that. Not that JR did, but they will. He did try. He did try, but we nipped that in it. But once he did that, I was like, all right, I gotta check myself because it's gonna bring more tension between us, and I wasn't trying to do that. I just seen whatever the situation was, just a little bit different. But I think for the most part we on the same page with him. What you got?
Yeah, I don't.
He has different. Different.
So I'm more about manners and those things, right? And respecting. Like, I believe a child is a child, and an adult is an adult. That's just how I look at life. Call me old and antiquated, but that's just how I see it, right? Children ought to respect those, because if I'm not around and you guys are there, I need for him to see you guys as adults, and you have authority to say, son, you need to stop. Your mother and father wouldn't like that, right?
Right. Yeah.
That is how I am with them. So that is where sometimes she would just call me Southern and country.
I just say Southern. Say Southern country because he'd be like, say yes, sir, and yes, ma'am. And we from up north. We don't, we just didn't grow up that way.
Well, that we know, because there's a lot of arrogant people that we know. That's besides the story.
Listen, that's a different topic.
It was polite. It just didn't use.
She was, when she came down, the Duval County.
Right.
Why do you people saying hi to me?
It was serious.
It's annoying. Like, it was annoying.
We've kind of accepted it now, but like coming down, going inside the store, like it was when Blockbuster was open. They come in the Blockbuster, hey, how you doing? I'm like, what are you talking to? Why are you talking like that? Like, just let me find my movie.
Right.
Let me just do what I'm doing. But now I'm like, dang, they didn't even say hi when I came.
Yep. Yeah. After a while, once you're here for a little bit, then you're like, they didn't even open the door for me. Like,
where's your customer service? Like, what's going on here?
Oh, it used to drive me crazy.
Yeah, I was telling
the gas station. Good morning. I'm like, do I know?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get my coffee. I'm about to go to work. Like, I do not need to have no conversation.
Right. I'm not trying to greet you, sir. Just here's the money. Let me go about my business.
That was something she had to deal with,
with
us, not just outside, with us. I wake up in the morning and
You be
it's,
bright-eyed and
you know,
bushy-tailed.
what's up? How you doing? You know, good to go.
Here
What's
I am
going
under
on?
the covers, like, bruh.
She like, don't talk to me. Don't talk.
This guy.
I got lasers. Surprised you ain't see any smoke coming off the side of my face just then.
Well, we had the same problem because
And now it's a little bit, sometimes it's a
So,
little bit different. Sometimes I wake up, I'm
yeah,
like, good
now
morning.
she
He be
wakes
like,
up like, what's up?
what's wrong? He's like, you don't want to say good morning? You don't want to say hi?
then you start to take on your spouse's traits.
Yeah.
I never did that.
Man.
I'm still not a morning person. It's not gonna happen.
I've gotten better. I'll say that.
No, I think she tries to have a bad morning now. She's like, it's like it goes for months, and she's excellent. And then it's just one morning she'll wake up, and it's just like,
Maybe I had a bad dream.
I just want to sleep.
I had
I'm
a
like,
bad dream. I
get
had a
up.
bad dream. I had a bad dream.
By now, I'm like, I want to get up, get up, get up.
No, I want to get in bed. I want to be angry for a minute. Let me be angry. You said I was excellent. Let me be aggressive.
So I'm be like, so what do we have planned for the weekend? It's freaking in the morning. I just opened my eyes. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I don't even know where I am right now. Like,
Right.
give me
And see, that's where it's because when we lived in the other places, it was like, come on, get up, let's go for a ride. And I'd be like, fine, let's get up and go for a ride. And now I'm like, so what you want to do?
Yeah,
Saturday morning, like, you're not gonna go for no ride? You're like, yeah, no, I had other plans to. I'm like, what? So we're not gonna go for no ride? Like, dang, so I gotta like do household stuff? Like, you're not gonna go for no ride? You sure? So your traits do rub off on each other for sure.
That's the beautiful part of marriage in the first place, because you still are learning each other as you continue down this road and stuff. Like you was about to ask a question when I said, oh, but yeah. So y'all obviously got everything kind of for the parenting styles with that. So there was never no major fallouts from that, because obviously the young man you guys have raised and continue to raise is a testament again to what you two have done and continue to do with him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So definitely looking forward to see JR.
You're gonna be taller when you see him next time. He look at me.
Tall.
Actually, he's taller than me.
Yeah,
He's taller than me. So
Can't wait to see him too.
Yeah, he a grown little man. Not little anymore. He's a grown man.
So one of the biggest things that, like, when we went to marital counseling, we were kind of married, but then we went back.
We were
we were married, but we went back to premarital counseling because there was a whole situation.
Right.
Whatever. Anyway, one of the things the pastor brought up was family and that dynamic, and making sure that you keep your relationship, to yourselves, right, and not introduce your family into your relationship, because it could get rocky, right?
Yes, it can.
So, what kind of experiences did you have with that? Like, was that like trial and error for y'all?
Or was it hard for y'all to keep family out of it?
I want to say for me, because my family is here, I speak to my mom and my sister a lot. I guess for me, it was more like experience type stuff. Like, you just trying to make sure that you're not, like, if we're having a disagreement about something, and my mom is married, so my sister's married. So it's not like you're talking to like a single person and they're trying to, drive you left. But you're sitting here like, okay, did I say this wrong? Because he'll be like, in the beginning, it was like, when you said something and it was like your tone, or something happened and, could have been said a different way type of thing. So I'm like, am I wrong? Like, if I'm wrong, I don't want to make it worse. I want to make it right, apologize and try and correct it. So for me, they never like came knocking on the door, like, why is this, that, and the third, but they'll have no problem telling me you was dead wrong. Like, you shouldn't have did that. Or, maybe you should have thought of it this way, or maybe maybe you could try and bring it up this way. Sometimes it worked, and sometimes I was like, that didn't work. So we just gonna have to let it be what it is. He's a little older, so he.
Yeah, so that was when really the age difference really was a thing, and I had some previous experience and everything. So, you know, it was a struggle. For me, it was, like going back to, I grew up below the poverty line. I can't even get it out. So I had a goal, right? I had a goal. The decisions I made to leave home and, go out, as we all did, right? We left home and went out to, so along the way, I had gained all kind of experience doing stuff. Consequently, I meet her, and I'm older than all her siblings, all their spouses. I'm the oldest, most traveled of all, right? So we would have disagreements, and it's not. I'm not saying I know everything. That's not. I just want to get that clear. It's not about no. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, I had a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so there were things that every time, we would have conversations, and it would always go to what would somebody else say, right? So my sister said this, or my brother-in-law said this. And I'm like, you're talking to people who they don't know me like that, for one, and they don't know what my goals are, what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And so we would have those things. So it was like I felt second guessed a lot, right? So and then in all honesty, 99% of the time they would agree with me, but it was still the fact that she always had to bounce something off of someone else, in order for me to, or not say me, but for us to move forward. It was always second guessed.
A lot of it was like, we were sheltered a lot. So a lot of things, like he said, he was experiencing, I wasn't experiencing. So I was like, I don't even know, like he's putting stuff on, naming stuff. I'm like, bro, I don't even know like what you talking about. I'm not even thinking that far. He goes this way and I'm trying to go, I'm like, oh, come back this way, because I don't know what you're talking about. So it was like, and then it was like my village was my protection. They protected me. So I was always comfortable with, like he said, my brother-in-law or my mom or my sister, because they were there. I lived with my sister and my brother-in-law for a long time before I went on my own. So for me, it was nothing. To me, it didn't bother me, but for him, it was like he said, it was a lot of second guessing. I didn't see it that way. I was just like, this is new. We've been together for a long time. It's my longest relationship. I'm trying to get it right, but I don't know if I'm saying it the right way, or, am I wrong for thinking about it this way? So it was just like, that's my village. They're going to protect me. It was almost like a crutch almost. And I did have to break loose. Like, okay, I didn't want him feeling the way he was feeling. So I had to make an adjustment and try and communicate with him more versus talking to them. Because of course, like, someone gonna say, well, I wasn't there, so I can't really tell you, this, that, and the third. It's like, okay, yeah, you're right about that. So it's like, he's here, and in order for us to work, we're gonna have to communicate. So it was a lot of like the age gap, a lot of checking myself. And then some of it, I was like, well, this is how I see it, not trying to be a jerk, but I see it this way. So.
And the catch was, I love her family. They open, I love them. They're awesome. It was just that second guessing thing. You know what I mean? That was just I didn't think that they were telling her anything ugly or bad. Like I said, 99% of the time, when she would admit it, she was like, they would anyway. They
can't let that out the hat. You can't let that out the hat.
Anyway, and I'm like, that's fine, but at what point are we going to deal with each other and not deal with 10 other voices? Because are we together or am I with them? Which one is it? So, well, to me, it's like 10.
All of us.
That's all.
And that just shows growth,
Yeah,
to see that, especially to eventually, because oftentimes what we as individuals sometimes don't check ourselves first.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Seeing the fault in the other individual.
Right.
Will
Right.
go straight to them instead of like, no, check here first, check with yourself first.
Because you can point the finger as much as you want, but it's not going to change. It's not going to change nothing, you know, if you want to grow. You can say it's all your fault all the time, but we're not going to go nowhere. So
I think when you're a close-knit family too, like your immediate reaction is to just go talk to your people, right?
Right.
My people know me, right? They know my actions, they know how I am, my personality. So they'll tell me, you know, if I'm acting outside of the way that I should be acting. So it's so easy to like call a friend or call a family member and say, this is what happened.
Right.
And then
go ahead, I'm sorry.
You know, the pastor for us, I think when we took the test, when we were sitting in the counseling, I thought about like how much your parents or your people love you.
Right.
And they're automatically going to be so protective.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
So even though they may even agree with the other person, right? They still want to believe in you and they want to protect you.
Right.
Tia, yeah, you just said a mouthful right there. Let me tell you. So that was one of the things that, you know, that was part of the issue for me. And it was, while they would agree with me, oftentimes they would still try to make, in protecting her, kind of soften it. You know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, well, you were right believing what you were, you know, believing, but that's not, you know, like that. And it's like, sometimes it's just like, no, it's like, that's wrong. What's right or what's wrong, right? It's a right and a wrong. Sometimes there are gray areas, but most of the time it's right or wrong. And you have to express that, because that's how you fix stuff. Anytime you leave someone in limbo with how they're feeling about a situation, in other words, you allow them to feel safe with how they originally thought about it. But you kind of put it on their mind that they were wrong. You know what I mean? They're still kind of in limbo, and you have to get them out of that. And that was one of the issues. So even when she would come back to me, it would be with some resentment, because she would still feel right in how she felt, but acknowledge that she was wrong, or whatever it was.
I could have just made it better.
I always mess with it. I don't know if you guys remember Terrence Howard in Get Rich or Die Trying. I was wrong, but I could have been right.
Yeah,
but if I was right, I could have been wrong.
I wasn't wrong. I was just saying I was better.
Yeah, that was it. So the family, and we did go to premarital counseling.
Yeah, we did. It was actually a requirement before we even got married, because I wanted to get married in the church. Some places was like, oh, you can get married at the place that we had the reception at, but I was like, no, I want to get married in the church. So when they did that, they was like, okay, you get married in it. We didn't belong to the church per se. My sister did, and so I knew it was a good church. So I was like, well, let's just go to Mount Pleasant and talk to the pastor. And that's pretty much what we did. So the premarital counseling actually sealed the deal for me, because there was a couple other couples there, and everyone's kind of everyone
Calorie down.
Everybody was there, and it was like,
some of them didn't make it to the altar.
No, they didn't make it.
They should.
I think that's what it's designed for, right?
You know, it was like we're sitting there, and we're like, you know, like he's in the beginning, it was, you know, we got these different things going on. It's like, you know, yin and yang, you know, we got age gap, coming from a different place, different opinions, different views. And then we're sitting here at premarital counseling and we listening to these people talking. And I'm like, he getting 7 text messages from other women at work, and they having religious issues. They worried about Catholic and Christian and
Muslim and this.
And I'm like, what are y'all like? And then you just hear other stories, and it's like, okay, our biggest issue right now is just
who putting shoes out,
right? Like, let's communicate. Like, we trying to get, like, we're not dealing with none of this. We're just trying to communicate to like, get the communication straight. And I just remember that last day. I actually said a prayer, but that last day I was like, okay, I could do it, because you're writing in the book, you guys are doing you're doing the
Study,
work, right?
yeah.
You're doing the work, you're sitting there, you're comparing, you're talking, and then you're hearing other couples, and you're like, okay, I'm not dealing with that. This, we could do this. This could be done. You got to be some checking, check yourself type, stuff going on. But for the most part, it could be done. So I remember waking up the next day like, okay, I felt it in my heart, like, okay, I could do it. We could do it. And from there on, it was like, I was on the road. But that therapy session was that premarital counselor was something serious.
It was a form of therapy.
It really was.
Like that stuff y'all was sitting in there listening to, those people don't realize that stuff matters. Like you said,
man. It does.
especially like religion or the way like finances are being handled. All that stuff. These are conversations that need to happen prior to any of that stuff. Right. Because oftentimes people will just get married and think that's, oh, well, we're married now, that's going to cover that problem. No, it's still there because y'all never approached the conversation about having kids.
How many stories do you hear, like
all the time?
Like I wanted kids and he didn't.
Yeah.
How was y'all dating this whole time?
It's such a big topic, so to have that discussion and to have like that's like completely two different things. It's like, you don't want no kids, I want kids. Like that's huge. Yeah, that's like a huge like,
and somebody has to make some sort of sacrifice in that.
Yeah.
Everything might be perfect there with the individual. You're just everything just moving smoothly, but it's just to that part where someone has a strong desire to have kids and the other one does not have a strong desire to have kids, but then somebody's going to have to break in there.
Right.
Like, either I'm going to be,
and there'll be resentment from either side.
That's what you got to get on the same page with that, especially before marriage. Like, golly, man, when you get married in the very beginning and all that happens, you're like, oh, I want kids. Hey, now we didn't talk about this. I didn't want to.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot too. I don't think people realize like topics come up that you didn't really think that you would have to cross that road in your marriage. Like you're not thinking things are gonna just be, this is what's gonna happen outside of that. I didn't think a lot of things wasn't gonna happen. I'm like, dang, I'm not prepared for that. I'm thinking I'm planning this, that, and the third. I wasn't prepared for that one. I don't know how you can go about, doing it. So it's like it's an adjustment for sure, because you don't know how to fix it. It's gonna stay broken. You're sitting there looking at it like, okay, I don't know how to fix this.
I think our pastor, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think if you haven't been dating for at least a year, he won't even do the counseling with you.
His main thing is time is your best ally.
Yeah.
So that gives you opportunity to learn this person, find all these things out. Y'all have these deep discussions about stuff. And even as minute as what we, said earlier about, tissue pulled from the top or from the bottom, or the way that the towels are folded, those are little things that people will literally have drop down arguments, arguments about, because everybody wants to be right in their own mind about it instead of just coming to an agreement. Like, does it really matter? The tissue's going in the trash.
But see, that's the beauty of it. See, that's where life be life, and as they say, it's that question you didn't even think about asking. It's that question that runs you in the ground. It's not the the common things. It's the things you would have never. You could have written down your entire 1,000-question list, and it's that question that you didn't ask. That's the one that'll, that can get you. And it's not anybody's fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's just, that's what happened. That's life, right? That's what happens. And so that's where your struggle, that's what most of your struggles, in my opinion, that's what they should lie. In the things that we didn't quite know about each other that, now we have to figure those part out, that part out. The stuff we know about each other, we should be able to, just breeze through those little issues, But
as long as you work through it, you got to work through it. You got to talk about it.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, straight up.
Absolutely.
It's like marriage 101.
And that's the biggest part about it.
Cannot talk if you're not married.
Seriously.
What would you say is you as individuals have grown from, like, throughout the years that you've seen growth in yourself?
Trying to I used to do the silent treatment. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I don't like confrontation. So for me, it was like, I don't want to talk to you now anyway, because you said something I didn't want, we said something that we didn't agree upon, and there was no solution about it or whatever, or we had an argument about something and it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. I don't got nothing to say. I ain't gonna talk to you. I ain't gonna look in your direction. I ain't gonna look at you. I ain't thinking about it. I'm gonna go ahead and go this way. If you coming this way, I'm going the other way. I don't want to be bothered with you. Whereas now, I try and check my tone, just talk more and really like try and address it a little bit sooner than just, maybe I'll say sometimes I still need a minute just to let it roll, like, just bring it down a little bit, but kind of nip the whole 1 week of not talking type stuff, because it don't get you nowhere. And honestly, by the time that week is up, I done forgot why I was mad any daggone way. Like, dang, why was I mad again? So to me, that means that it wasn't worth me being quiet about. We could have just nipped it in the butt early. For me, it's trying to kind of get it earlier than letting it fester for as long as I did. So my growth is trying to speak up, say it, and be done with it.
And mine is, as my best friend would say, he would have left by now if back in the day, he'd have been gone already, Don't say stuff, don't say anything crazy to him because he's out, you know what I mean? Like, so that's what I've had to learn. I've had to really, once I figured out I wanted her, I wanted to be married to her, I wanted this to be my family, I had to, I had to get all of that out. I had to work all that stuff out of my system. And it was just like, again, going back to the age gap, I have to go there, and being from two different places, I wasn't used to being talked to in the manner that she talked. I'm not saying she was being mean or bad. That's just how she talked. That's how she spoke. I'm not used to that, right? And so for me, I had to try to get in, try to put myself in her shoes. I know what she's trying to convey. It's just her style is not my style. You see what I'm saying? So I did a lot of that. I just tried to do a lot of that. I think she'll agree. I tried to give her a space, but at the same time, it's like, okay, look, that's a little bit too much. So let's it's
a little bit on both sides.
Absolutely. So, but that was just something. So being able to have that patience for myself, just for myself, being able to just sit down and say, no, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. And so we just have to get through this. And eventually all of this will go away. That's my hopes and prayers,
Yeah, I feel like for me, anger, like I could get so angry so fast, like 0 to 100.
Yep.
Yes.
And even though I'm not really confrontational, like you could like feel it in your spirit, your being, and then you treat the other person that way, right?
For the record, I have not felt any of
because
this.
it's always in here. Like I do other things internally.
If it is, I am oblivious to it.
Which works. It helps. But I think what I learned was like my biggest thing is like, is the argument or is the conversation worth it? Right? Like some things it's like so stupid,
right,
that it doesn't even make sense to have the conversation.
Right.
So if somebody didn't pick up like something's on the floor and they step over it and you like, what?
Right.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Like, am I about to have a whole argument?
Right.
I'm gonna just pick it up off the floor and keep it moving.
Right.
Be happy, and so is my spouse, right?
Right.
So I think for me, it was learning like you don't gotta be pissed off all the time about little stupid things that don't really matter.
Right.
I'd rather be in a happy bubble
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
With a happy medium, right? Because there
Right.
are things that you need to address and you need to talk about, especially when it comes to your emotions and your feelings. Because if you hide that and push that down, eventually it's gonna bubble up.
Blow up.
Mhm.
That's right. Right.
So I think, for those young couples out there, right? Like just pick and choose your battles.
Right.
And make sure that you're expressing your feelings,
Right.
but in a respectful manner to your
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. Right.
Absolutely.
I would try to be disrespectful. I really would. I would. But then because he be talking like, wish your, like he be saying stuff. I be like, did he just tell me to shut up without telling me to shut up? Like,
But see, I'm
right.
I'm difficult to anger, and a lot of times she doesn't like that. She doesn't like that. It's difficult to make me mad.
No, it's not. I'm not
No,
trying to
she
make you
wants
mad.
me-
I just want you to communicate
Right,
with me.
but she thinks my her style of communication is like really emoting what you're feeling. Right, if I'm angry, I'm angry. I'm not that way. Right, so I can be upset and still and talk to you just like this, but she can't see that I'm upset, so it's hard for her to actually process that I'm upset too. I'm not happy about this either, and so we have that thing because she thinks I'm emotionless. And I'm like, no, I'm here. I feel you. I hear what you're saying, but I'm not banging on the table and screaming, and that's a problem sometimes because I'm not what she wants me to be during argument time. She doesn't get that fight that she wants.
Y'all who press play, he lying. Like, I'm not a
pause the record. Like, all right, pause button off. Like,
you put a little butter on it. I don't want to fight with you. I just want you to have us.
It's on say, run it back. You heard us a while ago with her attitude.
Hey.
I think I can relate because Sean is very easy going to almost the point where it's like he can be in a oblivion sometimes, right? Because he's happy-go-lucky. Like, so it's like, no, I feel what I'm feeling.
I do stuff to try to protect my mental.
I hear you.
Great, but there's a time.
I went to you.
I hear you. I hear you.
So they say in the world, the number one reason for divorce is financial stress, or one of the number one reasons for divorce is financial strain and stress. How have y'all worked through that and figured out y'all pace? I know there's so many different ways that couples figure out their finances that works for them.
Right.
So could you share with the people what y'all figured out that works for y'all?
And we don't need to know about
Like
the
details,
the
like
detail.
You don't want to know. You gotta want to know that.
Cause y'all, cause I know we know y'all, cause y'all got what, 7 properties,
mansion,
a couple ranches that they mentioned, but you ain't heard it from us, so we ain't want to gossip.
I would honestly say communicating. Just really like getting on like holiday time and really like trying to figure like your monthly bill, like just if I see something in a statement, I'm like, what was that for? Or just communicating. To me it shouldn't really be that hard to do, but I know that there are people out there that do some OD stuff, and they be out there buying all kind, having a package at the door every other, like big boy packages, not no little basic Amazon stuff. Let me be clear, because you was about to come over here and start talking left. I'm just saying, like, some, you gotta.
I was about to go up to the table because I be having packages.
Right. Like you got a whole 7-piece couch at the door, and you ain't talked to your husband about it. Like, that's left. Now, if I get a little Amazon package, let me be great. Let me just.
I'll give you a perfect example of this right now. We just had a conversation one day, and I was like, I know, we need to get probably need to get Max back here by this door again. And then next day, They didn't mean to go and get him. You know what I'm saying? It was just a conversation. Hey, we need to go ahead and get probably get some mats. And I was like, all right. All she needed to hear was, I get the order.
I get the order. That's
Listen,
it.
look, y'all both.
I'm trying to help him out, right?
But look,
Yeah,
he can't
she
say
going
nothing
to.
like we about to get a little snowstorm, and I'm like, hey, we sitting at the table eating breakfast. I'm like, you got gloves? Yeah, I got gloves. I'm like, you got gloves because you're gonna be out there like shoveling snow, this, that, and the third. So when I'm looking out for him, it's all Gucci and gravy. He said, I don't think I got no gloves. What came in the mail 2 days later? You got some nice gloves for your hands. I'm trying to look out for you.
She just came up with one instance to justify all her Amazon purchases.
All she did, she probably pulled one of them government bills, you know what I'm saying? The bill, it was to get the gloves, but she also got something for herself in there.
What was on the porch?
For the toilet bowl.
What was on the porch? Just one pair of gloves, nice gloves he had on it.
I just need to add this caveat, okay? Y'all be complaining about these packages, right? But when you have visitors come through your home, you are the most proudest person ever.
Chest out. Chest out.
We got over here. How beautiful. And guess who did it? Guess who did it? The lady who ordered the packages.
Just had some pendants put up. I've been fighting tooth and nail for them bad boys.
I'll say my wife. I say my wife. That's my wife. My wife. I say that. I don't.
But you be proud. But when the packages come, you got something.
All right, back to how y'all do.
Scratching my head.
Anybody trying to hear all this stuff that you're talking about?
Cold blooded, man. We hard in these streets. We just trying to make the house, pretty a little bit, little dazzle where we can, where we see fit. Ain't nobody trying to hurt nobody.
Amazon ain't hurting nobody.
Nobody.
I don't know what we got ourselves into,
I know. So let me say this. It starts with structure. If so the first thing, after we got, as I said before, when we first got together, she moved with me. I was kind of taking care of everything.
Why keep saying that?
Because that's what it was. Just chill out. So after we got together, because she just told y'all she didn't work, especially after JR, she didn't work and all that. So okay, and never mind.
Don't put your eyes back down.
Okay, so once
I'm checking myself. I'm gonna just go ahead and checking myself.
Once we decided to combine our, money, it's no longer like what I got in my account, what she has in her account. It started with structure. It was, like, okay, this is our savings account. This is the account we'll be paying bills from. This is your joy account. This is my joy account. And that it starts with that. Then, like she said, it's communication. We neither one of us run out and make any purchases without really talking. I mean, minus the small stuff, but no big purchases are made without us talking to each other. We try to keep focus on the house first and what the family needs. We focus on those things first, and then we have fun when we can, or we make space for it. Let's say that we try to make space for it when we can have fun and all those good things. So.
Did y'all have to, when you finally decided to join Monies, did you have to have the conversation of who's gonna do what, or did it kind of just fall naturally? This is really
It fell naturally because it was all the money's going in one pot anyway. So, it was just you knew you had enough money to cover what you needed to be covered. So it wasn't I don't know about this, that, and the third. It was always okay.
And going back to her moving into me with me, I know, but that's just the order of thing. That's just how it happened, right? I'm sorry, I hate to keep referencing it, but that's just what happened. I was already paying the bills, so after we joined, I just kind of kept doing it. So it kind of flowed naturally right into it. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what it was.
when before we had JR. My money.
She couldn't. She couldn't. Boy, I tell you, she just got it.
I did not have a joint account.
No, but it's a real thing because like for us, I literally asked, like, would you mind if I did it?
Right.
Right.
That's what
I actually enjoy it.
Take that.
Right.
Take that.
It's not that I wanted to control anything, really.
Right.
We do the same thing. We don't make any large purchases without discussing
Right.
with each other, right? There's a whole spreadsheet. Like, here you go. Look at it. All that you want to know is right here. But it's just because I enjoyed doing it. But sometimes you have to have that conversation, right? That's why I asked. Like, you know, sometimes it's just like, oh, naturally progresses and this person takes over. I literally asked. Like,
people stay single when they get married instead of, like, you know,
Facts.
joining together with stuff. You know, you can do more together than separately.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
We was listening to Dave Ramsey the other day, and this guy got on the call and he was saying how his wife went and purchased the whole car. And I'm like,
I don't know how they do that.
I'm like, how does that even happen?
Yeah.
How do you come home with a whole new car? Or have you ever heard like the people, I went and brought my husband a car.
Right.
What you mean?
Right.
That's
Something
y'all car.
with their finances.
Right.
They better have a lot of money.
Right.
I'm trying to tell you now, because if either one of us pulled that off, it better have been cash or something like, hey, I bought you a car. First of all, where did cash come from? Because
You know I can be mad. Like, what cash?
Right. Back. That's where I'm at. Cash from where?
Where that money come from? Ain't no way.
Yeah, no, I couldn't. I don't even think it would feel right to be like, yeah, I just, you know, surprise. Like, no, it's not. Ain't that much surprise in the world.
She come home with something like that for me. I'm looking for OnlyFans pages. I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
For her cakes.
Yeah, I'm
I can't say cakes. The actual
that's where the money came.
Pastries.
Yeah.
Pastry. I said for her cakes. No, it didn't flow right. It didn't flow right. You said one my cakes. No, actual. She makes great cakes, people. Bakes them. She bakes cakes.
It's baking cake. Baking cake. Not the others. It's the baking.
Okay. With a car, you baking cakes, all right.
I'm like, and what is the return policy?
Right.
The facts.
You got a how many day grace period? Yeah, drive it back up to the stove.
Yeah. If you had to give one word of advice to the newlywed or the newly engaged couple, what would that advice be? Not literally one word, but like advice.
Well, while she's thinking, I have a couple. It is not about what you can't live without. It's what you can live with. And with saying that, make the decision that you want to be with the one you're with. You have to make the decision that you're here and this is where you want to be. And you're going to make all the necessary decisions to keep your home safe. And that means not doing anything crazy. That is what I would like to say to any young couple that I'm talking to. Well, that's what I do say to young couples.
I would say make sure y'all understand, like we've been talking about differences in, you know, your upbringing and differences in who you are as a person, to have try to have a better understanding of, like, talk more, like try and find those things that are going to help both of y'all move forward to be one, as opposed to moving separately, because you're not going to get nowhere if y'all going in two different directions. So you could, you know, try and find those little things that that's an ick, it's gonna get you. Make sure you try and iron out some of those things before because sometimes you get married, you be like, this joker here done, he done did a 360. I ain't never seen that before. You like, well, we ain't had that discussion. So we
Right.
Right.
To the question you didn't ask.
Yeah.
You're going to hit those bumps. You're going to hit them. You thought you knew everything and you did.
Or as his podcast, the stuff that he watches, like a venting process, have those discussions, have those talks, look online, find a couple questions, and some left stuff that that you kind of get y'all on the same playing field, so you kind of get a better understanding of what you're dealing with. Because sometimes you just don't know.
Right.
It's so important because you also change and grow.
Right.
Yes.
Marriage too. So if you're not constantly talking and really relearning your spouse.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Because it's a job. It's really not like it's not like single life, where you could just, like I said, I could leave when I want to. Yeah, anybody can. Anybody could just be like, all right, this ain't for me anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and leave you. We can leave. You can leave. Go ahead. But when you married, you want to be here.
But that goes.
You gotta put some work in. You gotta communicate. You gotta talk. You gotta, get down to the nitty gritty if you can. Because if it's one thing it's gonna do, it's gonna keep coming back up.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing that we have not mentioned for the most part, you have to establish trust.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
That part has to definitely be there, because something else we learned during our premarital counseling, because we knew that each one of us was successful being single.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could trust yourself with stuff. Now you have to trust this other person.
Right.
Absolutely.
With your heart.
Your life, everything.
Yes.
And that goes to what I was saying. You have to make the decision. What keeps you together isn't some magical feeling, even though we like to think about that. It's just some magical love. No, it's a decision. You make that decision that this is my spouse. I'm going to honor her or him, and this is where I'm at. And you make that decision, and every day you have to make more decisions that are going to keep your family and your home safe. Every day you make decisions to keep your family and your home safe.
The pastor says love is not ooey gooey, it's
dooey.
Dooey.
And we did a little episode on selflessness, because really marriage is like dying to yourself every day, like all the things that you care about, you want, right? Like you have to consider the other person always.
Yes.
So making that I want to do this, but does your spouse?
Right.
So that's huge too, right? Because a lot of people are
they don't want
selfish.
Right.
Yes.
They want. It doesn't really.
It's
it doesn't really pan out right or well in a marriage.
Did you hear people like suppress their like you hear someone say, well, I'm suppressing, like, they want to do, like you said, one person want to do that. I'm going to be selfish. I want to do. And then you got somebody else saying, well, now I got to suppress my feeling, how I feel about, like, so you definitely have to find that, if you love your partner and you want to be there, y'all got to find that, that happy medium, the best way you can, because it's going to drive a wedge between y'all for sure.
As they say, the best negotiations, nobody's happy, right? And the best, in other words, whenever you're dealing
compromise.
with
Compromise.
Compromise.
Gotta find
people. Neither one of us is. Neither one of you are ever going to get all that you want, and that's and sometimes all that you want it's not good for you. So you need to rein some of that stuff in. So compromise.
As my parents would say, you got to concede. A lot of conceding that goes on when you're with your partner, whether you like it or not. It's a lot of that.
I truly believe that if each person on the other end is doing that, though, that you'll be happy anyway, because that person is constantly working to make you happy, and you're constantly working to make that other person happy.
Absolutely.
So it just equals happiness.
I'll throw this
correct in the end.
I'll throw this caveat in there, but even though we're doing it to make each other happy, you're still not responsible for that person's happiness.
True.
Not at all.
And I had to learn that.
If you, yes,
I had to learn that because you looking at TV and or you hearing all these stories and oh look, he brought her to this or he did all this and he's making her happy. He's this picture that has been painted. And it once you in that nitty-gritty, it's like, okay, wait a minute.
That's not real life.
It's not real life. Wait a minute.
Real life. And honestly, we had to have that conversation. It's like, that's a you thing. I'm sorry, but that's a you thing. You know what I mean? I hear you. I want to jump in the hole with you, but I can't. It's only so much and so far a person can go.
You gotta jump.
Well, that's see.
Jumping out.
Digging that hole.
I can dig away, and if you're not feeling happy, we'll be in China because you haven't done the work on yourself. Because there's nothing you can do, and I'm happy. I'm a happy person. That's how I am. But yeah, that's we definitely have had that, and like she said, I think that's one of the strengths of our relationship is the growth. That growth. That is that's probably our signature strength between the two of us is we constantly growing. And I
actually had to make a real check yourself more. Like you really gotta almost like you gotta step up. Like you can't just be, you had, like you said, you had some selfish moments. So I want to do this and I want to do that. You got a vision. You got to, you got something that you want to do or something that's, and it's like, you got to really check yourself. So I guess a lot of it had to do with you growing up a little bit because I did meet him a lot younger. And like I said, there is an age gap. So, it's, experiences and stuff that I wasn't exposed to. So it was in that growing phase. Okay, you gotta grow up a little bit. Can't do that. Can't think like that. Got to think like this. Ask the questions. And that's not easy to do, because you're vulnerable. You're vulnerable, and you're hoping that the person that you're with is gonna have your best interest at heart. When you do decide to say, okay, let me open up a little bit more and say this, that, and the third, or whatever the case may be, that's not easy to do. That's not something that you could just be like, okay, I'm gonna just say what I gotta say, and it's gonna no. I gotta think about it for a minute. Let me think about it for a minute, because I don't know how you're gonna take it. Is he gonna take it this way? Is it gonna go that way? So it was a lot.
Learning to communicate is a true skill. I don't know that you or anybody really realizes how not good at communicating we really are, right?
Seriously.
Especially when you're like the strong, independent, woman, and you're out and about doing these things. You don't have to really communicate with anybody. You make
anybody.
yourself,
right?
And you go about your business, and so really getting into it, and then being with somebody every day, and you're like, I actually really pretty suck at communicating. I know that was the case for me. I had to learn to force myself to say the things that I needed to say, and lay it out, because I was not good at communicating.
Seriously, yes.
And you've done a great job.
Well, thank you very much.
Good. That's awesome.
Any questions for us? We have enjoyed having y'all on our podcast. The goal is always to be able to bless somebody else, and allow them to hear other happy married couple stories, and allow them to see that it's really real, right? I think, Sheena, you said something that is super important, especially in the female world, right? We watch these shows and we're like, oh, this is love, and this is gonna be this perfect picture, and it not necessarily means that it's not perfect for us, right? But it doesn't look the way that it's perceived every single day. So that's really the goal of the podcast, is just to share that you can still in 2024 be happily married, because everybody's running for the hills.
Right.
I don't like the way
And by the way, not like 4 or 5, like 2 other people. I
Right.
don't know what's going on with some of these folks.
I mean, it'd be like 30 days and they'd be like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah, it's that one and it's the other one where they had a baby. They were together for this however many years or year, and then they had a baby, and then somebody got crazy, and then now they trying to take the baby away from the dad. Like, you ain't see all that craziness when y'all was like,
All the
something
red
happened.
flags was there. All the red flags was there. They
Yeah.
just chose
I'm like, somebody
They always choose to ignore it.
somebody missed something, because ain't no way you supposed to grow a whole life in this world. You ain't see that man was crazy. It don't make no sense.
Man.
I can see crazy, and I'm not even with him every day. Yeah.
Right. Like, what? Like, you ain't see that? Girl,
Man.
jump for the hill. Or even
Here's what it
men.
is. Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Anything y'all would contribute to newlyweds and or soon to be newlyweds?
Oh, it's that communicate.
Mhm.
Like, whatever you can think of, talk about it. Now, I ain't saying one of them things that you first meet up and
Right,
and be like,
Right. You gonna scare somebody away?
what's your 5-year plan?
God.
Right. Can we have dinner?
I mean,
So let me ask this. So Tia, since you and I tend to kind of have a similar personality in a lot of ways, a lot of things that we do and the way we handle ourselves, what is something that you can do that maybe you've thought, something that you've had to work on and change yourself with, maybe the way you process things on the long term that have helped you, that maybe can help me, you know,
What you need help with?
just maybe it's a process or something that she, something that's some idea that she had that helped her.
I think
helps
honestly,
her outside of Sean, of course, being like, come on now, chill out, relax. Outside of that, what self
he didn't help my process.
you can't help it?
No. I really, a few things actually. Learning to be more present.
Yeah. Yep.
And enjoying today, because tomorrow is not promised.
Yeah.
And even though you have all these goals, and that's still great, and you can still plan for those goals, like today is the most important day.
Right.
You don't get that time back.
Right.
And just because of a lot of loss that I've experienced, I'm just like, it's not even worth stressing out about something that I can't control in the future, right? Like, I could plan and I could do all the things, but right now is the most important.
Right.
Being patient
Yeah.
is my Achilles heel. I work on that daily. Like, patience is something that I want it right now. I want to plan for it right now.
Yeah.
This is gonna happen, right? And so I kind of just dial it back and I focus on the one thing, right?
Yeah.
And I say, okay, this is the one goal,
Mhm.
and I'm going to do it step by step, right? Today, what can I do towards that goal? This is what I'm going to do, and then I'm gonna put it in the pocket,
Right.
and leave it alone. So it's mostly that, like, just being intentional about the thoughts, the goal, right? And just really taking it day by day. Instead of, because I get hyper focused.
Right.
I'm like, I will put on a spreadsheet, I'll put it on the board, I will write it out for you. Like,
we got a full debt repayment plan.
She really do. She be like, I got
by this year we should have everything paid off, including the house, and we should, as long as we stick to this plan.
we be cackling with her in our group chat
too, learning how to be flexible, because
Yeah.
things happen all the time, and I would get pissed off, like, you are deterring me from what I had going on, right?
That's where I come in at.
Right.
That's where I come in at, because there's certain things that we, obviously there is things that we want to pay off, and then something just happens, and you're like, ugh.
Right.
Just like we just had this one thing.
We take turns, actually, now that
it's
I'm
weird though. Yeah,
Right.
We take turns. There's sometimes where so the car, our Volkswagen, something happened. I mean, we've been hit like boom, boom,
Right.
boom. But something happened with the Volkswagen. It ended up being like $5,000 to fix it,
Ooh,
and it was like
Mostly labor. With
Like-
that, but
yeah,
you have to weigh our options, right? Like you could go get a new car, but that's
right.
$1,000, or I
Right.
could pay $5,000 and be happy with my paid off vehicle. So but that money was supposed to
go
go.
to another debt that would have been
Right.
done.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So we take turns and the other one being pissed off that we're deviating from the plan
Right.
at this point. So at that, I think for that one, it was you were calm and I was like,
Yeah, I was super calm with
here we
that.
go. But I think it was we had a plumbing, was it the plumbing? At the plumbing issue, I was like, oh well.
Yeah,
We'll
I
deal
was
with that.
like,
We're dealing with it as it comes.
Right.
It is what it is.
Because at that point, it's
so
like
just-
there's nothing you could do,
Right.
That's
That's the biggest thing is
Right.
really understanding that I have no control.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So learning to let it go.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
yeah.
So
Well,
that-
we appreciate y'all jumping on to today. It's definitely a pleasure to always talk with y'all and stuff. And obviously, we need to do this more often outside of this, setting
Yeah,
and stuff,
absolutely.
stuff
sure.
like that.
for sure.
But thank y'all for joining.
Thank you for having
Remember,
us.
Yes,
oh yeah, for
Sure.
sure. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to This Works For Us podcast. We appreciate y'all, and we will talk with y'all later on the next episode.
All right.
Bye.
Later, y'all. Take care.
What's up, podcast family? We just want to say thank you for tuning in, watching our episodes. We pray that what we are saying is a blessing to you. God placed it on our hearts to share with other married folks and soon to be married folks. So again, we just pray that it's blessing you.
And stay tuned for the next video. Again, we want to thank you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, thank you for supporting This Works For Us podcast.